The battlefield of 07 was a vision from hell, burning under collapsing skies. Colossal alien war engines, the kind of things you see in nightmares, walked across the shattered bones of once great cities. Their purpose was grim, harvesting any survivors, turning entire planets into grotesque war farms for their insatiable empire. It was the end of a world, yet, in the middle of all that ruin, amidst the ash and despair, a human still moved. His name was Sergeant Kai Mercer. He was a ghost in a graveyard. His helmet was cracked, a spider web of fractures across the visor. His rifle, his trusted companion through countless firefights, was empty. His squad, his brothers and sisters in arms, were gone. He was the last man standing on a dead planet, but he was still alive. And for a human, that's more than enough. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A towering alien juggernaut walker, a mobile fortress of death, pivoted its massive chassis and locked onto his position. Its multi-barreled cannons began to charge, glowing with an otherworldly energy, aimed to erase him from existence. A lesser soldier would have run, would have tried to hide. But Kai didn't run. He didn't even flinch. With a grim certainty, he reached for his last grenade. But this wasn't an explosive. It was something far more desperate. A scavenged power core, humming with unstable energy. He sprinted, a blur against the backdrop of destruction, and slammed the core directly into the walker's armored leg joint. A surge of raw power overloaded the machine's gravity servos. The metal giant groaned, its systems screaming in protest, before it collapsed to one knee, then fell completely, shaking the very foundations of the ruined city. The momentary victory was short-lived. The Juggernaut's fall acted like a beacon. Alien infantry, insectoid and relentless, swarmed from the rubble, their energy weapons lighting up the gloom. Dozens of Tim closing in from all sides, a chittering tide of death. Kai didn't hesitate. He grabbed a plasma blade from a fallen alien warrior, its edge still shimmering with heat, and then he charged. This wasn't fighting. It wasn't a calculated, strategic engagement. This was a pure, primal attack. Each strike was fast, brutal, and raw. There were no fancy moves, no elegant parries learned in a dojo. This was just survival, written in burning metal and screaming circuits. He was a whirlwind of desperation, a single human holding back the tide. He moved through them like a force of nature, each swing of the plasma blade a defiant scream against the dying of the light. As a fact, the sky above began to change. The perpetual twilight of smoke and fire turned a deep, blood red. A shadow fell over the entire battlefield, a darkness so complete it felt like the end of the universe. A massive alien warship, its immense presence was an overwhelming statement of power, a final, crushing answer to humanity's defiance. A single, focused beam of energy, not of destruction, but of analysis, locked onto Kai. It scanned him, dissecting his biology, his gear, his very will to live. Then, a voice echoed across the ruins. Not through speakers, but directly into his mind. It was cold, ancient, and utterly devoid of emotion. Human, your biological and tactical parameters indicate a 0% chance of survival. You should be dead. Kai paused, leaning on the plasma blade, the bodies of his enemies piled around him. He wiped a smear of blood and grime from his mouth with the back of his gauntlet and looked up at the impossible ship hanging above him. He spat. "Yeah, well," he said, his voice a ragged whisper against the silence. I had stuff to do. The warship didn't dignify him with another word. Its primary weapon port opened, a vast, dark maw that began to glow with apocalyptic energy. This was Italiano, the shot that would not just kill him, but would vaporize half the city as a final insult. As the beam fired, a lance of pure obliteration searing the sky. Kai Dove. He threw himself into a shattered bunker, a forgotten relic of the planet's original defense network. The blast hit, and the world outside became pure. White-hot energy. The ground shook so violently it felt like the planet itself was being torn apart. Inside the dusty, half-collapsed bunker, shielded from the immediate annihilation, Kai's eyes adjusted to the gloom. And then he saw it, tucked away in a forgotten corner, covered in decades of rust and decay, was an abandoned planetary defense cannon. An old-school, mass-driver weapon. Big, ugly, and forgotten by time. Any sane person would have seen it as a useless piece of junk. But Kai Mercer wasn't sane. Not anymore. He was something else. He was a survivor. He started to laugh. A quiet, ragged sound that grew into a full-throated, defiant roar. He scrambled over to the ancient weapon's control. Powering it up was a battle in itself, rerouting auxiliary systems, bypassing fried circuits with his bare hands. Sparks flew. The machine groaned and protested, but slowly, miraculously, it came to life. Outside, the alien warship hovered arrogantly, its commanders likely assuming the single human pest had been atomized. Inside the bunker, Kai locked onto the ship's massive profile. He didn't aim for the weapons or the engines. He aimed for the heart. And then he fired. There was no sound at first, just a tremor that ran through the bunker. Then, a solid slug of hyperdense metal, accelerated to a fraction of the speed of light, shot from the cannon. It punched straight through the warship's energy shields, as if they were made of paper. It tore through deck after deck of alien engineering, and then it hit the ship's central power core. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the sky exploded. The warship didn't just blow up. It folded in on itself, a miniature supernova that painted the sky with fire. Debris rained down like a meteor's shower, molten metals streaking across the red clouds. On Tegrund, the effect was immediate and catastrophic for the alien forces. The juggernauts, now without guidance, froze in place, becoming inert statues of war. The infantry soldiers, their connection to the hive mind severed, panicked, scurrying in confusion before collapsing, their purpose extinguished. A profound silence, the first in weeks, fell over 07. The war was over. Days later, when the first Earth reinforcements finally arrived, they expected to find a dead world. Instead, they found a single man sitting alone on the broken chassis of an alien machine, calmly drinking stale water from his canteen. Sergeant Kai Mercer. Alive. Still breathing. Still human. And on that day, the galaxy, in its vast and terrible wisdom, learned a very important lesson. It learned that you can shatter a human's world. You can take their hope, their friends, their future. You can push them to the very brink of extinction. But humans don't die when they should. They die when they choose. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story of human resilience, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what you think makes humanity so stubbornly hard to kill. Until next time, stay strong.